right, welcome back in. Just another football show. Championship weekend is upon us. Feels so good if your team's alive.
There's only 4 of them, so you got to feel good
Congrats.
about that. Yeah.
If not, sorry, but we appreciate you tuning in either way. Talking a little Eagles-Niners, or Niners-Eagles, I suppose. The game's played in Philly.
Young Brock Purdy is about to feel the wrath.
I think he's going to get some stuff going on. That's for sure.
Yeah, this is an interesting game.
This is probably the like most hostile environment he's been
absolutely,
into, right? Like,
absolutely. This is
Did he play in?
There's not
that Seattle fan base is like as riled
I think he
up for their
did,
team
but
right now.
not the same. But yeah, this is a game like Eagles come off of a huge victory over the Giants. Niners come off of I don't want to say narrow victory because they won by I think 7, but it was still a fucking slugfest, right, for that one.
Sure.
So I do think that
wins is wins, man.
I don't know if that's an advantage for the Eagles or not, honestly, but we will ask Eric about that, our Eagles fan, and see what Ray has to say, our Niners fan, about this matchup here, this NFC Championship game, and what is going to be a very fun, I think, slugfest type game.
Yeah, should be a good one. Make sure you guys are, obviously you listen to this one. Check out we got another one coming up later today. Talking Chiefs-Bengals, talking to Frenchie and Bangalorean. That should be a good one as well. And then we'll be back Friday. And we'll do our previews, and me and Ryan will make some picks. And on Friday, we'll be doing our best bets. Make sure you guys are checking all that out. We very much appreciate all the likes and shares and follows and everything you can give us on the various social media platforms and whatever it is they call it there. We very much appreciate it. So what's we talking? We talk to Ray.
Yep.
Let's call Ray. See what he thinks.
He's
got class tonight. We got to get him. We got to get him going before he's got to check into class. Let's get him on the phone. All right, so got to bring in Ray. He's been with us throughout the postseason, and Ray, your team went in. It was probably the most interesting matchup of the division round, I suppose. I don't know. It was something. How's life? How's it going, man? You moved on. Your team gets to play this weekend. That's the important part, right?
Very important. Feeling a lot of anxiety off my shoulders, not having to read all the Cowboy stuff this week.
I gotta say that was one of my main motivations watching this game too. Obviously rooting for Brock Purdy. I'm an Iowa State guy, so wanted to see Brock Purdy go on, but man, I just did not want the Cowboys to win. So that game was torture for me to watch. How were you feeling watching that game?
I was all over the place, I guess. Just always in it, but always just worried, every, 3 and out that they're going to, head down the field on the next drive. And, when we get a stop, it's back to we need to do something. It's just that over and over and over.
Yeah, it was tough for both sides, right, on the offense to go. Obviously, San Francisco, I think, had the better defense, but I do think that Dallas's defense was pretty good, but this is the thing we've been talking about with Brock Purdy for the last 6, 10, however many weeks. Like, okay, things are just going to keep getting harder and harder. It was a slog against Dallas. I think he threw for 200 and some yards, 214, no touchdowns, but no interceptions, which is important. And the 2 sacks he had were very early in the game. Now we're going on and facing another tough defense. How do you judge or how do you grade how Brock Purdy has played the last couple of weeks in the playoffs here?
Really well. I think the Dallas defense, as great as Eagles pass rush is a little more challenging for us just of how well they grade out against the run, and that proved, we didn't do a whole lot on the ground. So, I think he did well with not having that running game to support him. And
there were critical times where Kyle Shanahan basically said, Brock, go make it work, and he did. They were passing on, I think, 3rd down while the game was comfortably in hand, passing on 3rd down to salt it away, and I was like, okay, this, that made me feel better about Brock Purdy. How did it make you feel to see that kind of maturation?
It feels really good. I've been used to even, with the veteran that Jimmy's become on the team, to seeing the opposite. I mean, Shanahan hasn't trusted him in a lot of those same situations. So, and where I'd like him to be aggressive sometimes, but he just didn't trust him, and he's, a better judge of that than I. And to see him lean into Purdy, 7 games in, says a lot about Purdy. So, and I'm just happy to see him be aggressive there.
Yeah. And before we go on to next week, George Kittle, best personality in the league?
He's the best what?
You think he's the best personality in the league?
Oh God, he's the best everything. I'm an Iowa fan. I'm a 49er fan. He's a wrestling fan. Like, it's just like this perfect trifecta of everything I love.
Yeah, he was.
He's definitely like the funnest guy in the league. Like, it's not close.
I'm sure other people, right, in the locker room and stuff, but what he does, like him just joking around on the field, or like finding the sky can,
is just ridiculous.
That put me at ease, right? I'm sitting on the edge of my seat watching this game, and that put me at ease. I was like, okay, he's comfortable, I'm comfortable.
Yeah, and that's what he mentions. I mean, part of that is, his personality, and part of that is he's trying just to shake away some of that anxiety and let's just go, execute and play this game.
And they did, and he's joking around. He's a wild man on the side. And he still has the focus and the foresight to kind of bobble the ball 4 times, toss it off of his face mask for the hell of it, and then catch it and get you a nice huge gain there. So that was the highlight of the game for me.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, that kind of antics only work when you also deliver.
It's true, and he does consistently deliver. So got to hand it to him there.
Love it.
Then looking at this upcoming game, championship game on Sunday. I believe this is the first game. Yeah, this is the 2 o'clock game Iowa time here. Eagles have basically been the best team in the NFC, or looked like the best team in the NFC all year. Jalen Hurts on Sunday looked just like Jalen Hurts of old, just like kind of MVP form Jalen Hurts. All the questions about him being injured are kind of gone. They got Lane Johnson. They looked really, really good against the Giants. How are you feeling facing this dominant Eagles team?
Yeah, I would agree. They've been the best team all year, and I was hoping for a slow Jalen Hurts. Maybe they, felt they needed to bring him back a little early to secure the 1 seed, and maybe he wouldn't quite scramble and move, around the way that he's capable of. But that's not the case. I'm feeling 50-50 on it. I felt pretty good about the last couple, and the only thing that I kind of like is the fact that I'm not quite sure the Giants gave them any bit of test, because the Giants, I feel, only got by because the Vikings are fake. So I think that game was maybe a little too easy for them. So hopefully we can give them a test that, they haven't seen for a few weeks at least.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to be more physical, more challenging for the Eagles. The San Francisco team, they don't go away. They're grinders. You guys are grinding out on the ground, even when it's 3.5, 4 yards per run. You're not necessarily you're not moving away from that. And the defense, if the offense is lacking, the defense shows up. Defense is the best defense in the league. I'm sure you heard that 1,000 times during the game, but best defense in the league at allowing the fewest points per game. Number 1 in the league in takeaway differential. Great against the run, good against the pass. It's going to be a whole different matchup for Philly than that, the cupcake they had against the Giants. But looking at how the Dallas game went, they have a pretty good defense too. They're towards the top against the run. Eagles are best in the league against the pass. I think that does actually, skew more in the Niners' favor there. But I don't know that we're going to see high-flying Brock Purdy game, and that's perfectly fine. That skews towards the Niners. How do you feel going against the vaunted Philadelphia defense?
Everybody on this team blocks, so I know they have a pretty good pass rush because it can come from everywhere. But I feel better than I did going against Dallas. Like I said earlier, if we can get our running game going, which they have been able to. Eagles have given up the yards on the ground, so if we can get that going, then we'll survive some of the pass rush things. And Brock's been good enough to avoid some sacks, but even if we kill a few drives with more sacks than we've given up, I think we can survive it.
Yeah, well, we saw the Commanders, week 10 or 11 or whatever, whenever Philadelphia lost for the first time, they grinded the game out. They just kept running the ball, controlled the clock, played good defense, and I think the San Francisco is better than the Commanders at all those things. So I absolutely think that this is a favorable matchup for the Niners. I think that Brock Purdy keeps getting these tests and he keeps passing. He keeps checking all the boxes. He keeps, I would say he maybe struggled a little bit at the beginning of this game. He kind of reverted to some of the Iowa State stuff that I cringed at. Him kind of running backward and flipping the opposite direction. I was like, that doesn't work in the bigs, and it was a little bit frustrating. But then he did calm down, and I think he played very well. But man, this is the levels just keep going up. You're just keeping up higher up the mountain. So it is a tougher task, but this is a very, very good game, and I'm excited to watch. Ray, give me a little bit idea of game flow in this one. Tell me how San Francisco is going to play. Tell me how they can beat this Eagles team, and then give me a final score.
Yeah, I think we're going to score a decent amount, mid-20s. It's just a matter of, do we hold Hurts in check to the same degree? And I could see it going either way. I think it's within within 7 either which way. If we can hold them to low 20s, we win the game. If we end up if they end up pushing 30, I think we lose it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Then last question before we let you go: is it enough to have beaten the Cowboys? Like, is that just good enough for the season? That's your Super Bowl, and if you get the actual Super Bowl, whatever, that's secondary. Or is it like Super Bowl or bust?
I think just the run we went on wasn't enough. What you could expect when you're on your QB3. When we got matched up against the Cowboys, it wasn't enough. You had to beat them. So I mean, it's all been almost on borrowed money here. So I'm just looking forward to the game, and hopefully we just keep kind of this miracle alive.
Absolutely,
indeed.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun. I don't want any type of picking or betting this guy. This is such a tough one to call. So kind of ridiculous for us to make you do it this early in the week, Ray. But we appreciate you taking some time popping on with us. And if you guys are playing in that Super Bowl, we'll be getting a hold of you in a couple weeks to help us out previewing that game.
Hey, I'm looking forward to talking to you guys.
All right, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Bye-bye.
All right, so now got to bring back in Eric. He is our Eagles fan, one of our Eagles fans. We talked to a couple guys. OG fan though, Eric, hanging out. God, I asked you the same question last week, but I kind of want to ask again. How's the anxiety going, buddy?
It's last week was, I think it's a lot higher because I assumed that we were just gonna be a shit show in the
You're
playoffs.
just gonna fuck it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'm not as nervous this time around, but I'm sure it's gonna continue to creep up here and there throughout the week. The Niners are way different than the Giants. So I'm sure it'll get way worse here soon.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get a lot of confidence out, built up when you beat the same old New York Giants. You beat them 38-7 and never looked like even a test. Never looked remotely close. It was 28-0 at halftime. All the pieces were clicking for the Eagles. But what do you take away from that game? What did you like about seeing that game, other than obviously seeing everyone play very well?
Yeah, that's the big thing is seeing that your team that was seemingly unhealthy at the end of the season. You have Jalen Hurts being injured. Yeah, Lane Johnson's still a little beat up, and he still is. I guess he's still riding that broke dick, and he's not feeling too great. But just seeing that they were able to still play at that high level, great to see. And it's like you said, it's really hard to kind of tell. Our defense was still really good, but we also killed the Giants past 2 times, so it's not really.
Yeah, it was a lot closer
crazy.
to the Giants matchup in early December or whatever than it was week 18. So yeah, kind of hard to tell, but I'm with you there though. I think Jalen Hurts looked as good as ever, so I have zero concern there, which is a big relief. And then obviously the rest of the game was just cake for everyone. It does sound like A.J. Brown maybe played through a little bit of an injury in that game. It looked like he was a little bit frustrated, I guess. Any news on that? Anything you've heard?
I haven't seen anything on it. Like every single time AJ Brown goes down, he always just like rolls on his back for like a minute, and I'm always like, oh great, he's fucking injured. But it's like he always gets right back up and then just is on the field again. I don't understand that, but Nick Sirianni said he was just like upset. I think it was mainly because Sirianni just took him out for the rest of the game because it was well in hand at that point. But he said he should be ready for next week.
Okay, I'm glad you brought up Sirianni. He was in prime Sirianni form on Saturday night. Maybe the first time that some people across the country have got to see him in prime time. You know, staring down the camera, spitting on himself, yelling at the refs. What do you tell the rest of the football watching world about Sirianni? Like you just leaning into it? You appreciate him being a goof, or is it just a Philly thing, or what?
I just say just don't listen to his press conferences and just watch him on the field. Then you'll actually like him because like his press conferences, he always sounds like an idiot. But I just love watching him on the field. He just seems like he actually like cares. Like it's the same thing with like when you see like Robert Saleh and like D'Amico Ryan, all those guys get hyped for their players. You just see that he actually cares about what's going on the field instead of like boring old guys like Mike McCarthy and even like I would say Andy Reid. He just kind of just waddles around.
Hey, Andy Reid wants to go find a bratwurst.
Hey, I'm with
exactly.
I was going to say, I remember his first press conference. I remember talking to you about it. It was just like, oh, God, this guy. But
yeah, he sounds goobery, and he's like you said, he's spitting on himself, but you could just keep doing that. He's going to keep putting up numbers like that. So
yeah, it's hard to deny the success there. And seeing what like he's able to do to inspire the guys, obviously great scheme on both sides of the ball, but like clearly he is he's smart. He's got to be a smart guy, even though it doesn't seem like it. He's got to be a smart guy.
I'm surprised people aren't blowing up the whole like Michael Jordan like comparison that he did. I'm surprised. I assumed that everyone was just going to keep like saying something stupid about that. I'm like, he was mainly just talking about he's a leader, not actually he's Michael Jordan GOAT level in football. But I'm surprised people aren't just making a big deal with that.
I think that was going to be the story for the week until the Cowboys lost. And then, all the morning shows are just destroying the Cowboys, which, by the way, are you happy the Cowboys lost, or are you upset that you weren't the ones that got to beat them and get them out of the playoffs?
I'd rather the Cowboys lost this week just because I didn't want us to have the chance of losing to the Cowboys and then letting them get to the Super Bowl. I'd rather them just be knocked out and be done with it.
So what's worse? What would have been worse? You losing this last week, right? Even to the Giants, or the Cowboys making the Super Bowl. Which would you rather see less?
I definitely never want to see the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. So I'd rather it be like if the Giants beat us, I'd be perfect. I wouldn't like beat it as much as seeing them in the Super Bowl. Just don't want the Cowboys to be there.
Fair point. That's just checking.
In your life, you haven't really had much chance to see the Cowboys in the playoff or the Super Bowl, so you'd like to keep it that way.
And I don't see a bunch of Giants fans running around.
That's true.
Pile and hiding right now.
That is true.
Give it a couple years.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. But I don't think I saw it come through. What steak did you have this week? Have you made the steak yet? I don't think I saw it on Snapchat.
I made the steak. I just did just steak and eggs. I really enjoy like the steak and egg thing because I also like cook the steak with like onions and then like the onions now get like a steak flavor and
okay,
that's good. I like it. I like to hear it.
You're refining and honing your skills.
Yeah, just watch a bunch of Gordon Ramsay videos.
There you go.
There it is.
Now the question becomes, will you get a steak next week? Because you're playing the San Francisco 49ers, probably the second best team in the NFC all season. Certainly felt that way. They come off a gritty victory against the Dallas Cowboys. Defense looked good. Offense looked pretty efficient and okay. How are you feeling about playing this Brock Purdy-led San Francisco 49ers team and knowing that Eagles are enemy number one here in the state of Iowa?
Yeah, that's true. I just don't really know what to make of it. I just feel like that we are gonna it's gonna be like a defensive game at the beginning, just because like the Niners. I think we're the two big defenses like in the playoffs right now, while the AFC is like these two powerhouse offenses. But we both are. The Niners and the Eagles are both kind of like good on the offense side, but I think we're more defensive right now. But yeah, I feel like we can kind of like if we can get the protection up front, we can kind of like hit our two wide receivers and stuff like that down on the sideline. But I don't feel like we're gonna have much of a run game, and I'd rather us not just like sit there and just try to force it with Jalen Hurts and maybe re-injuring him. So I think that we do just need to kind of lean on the pass a little bit more, but.
That makes
We'll see.
sense. Yeah, the Niners have the second best run defense in the league. They're only allowing around 75 yards per game. You know, Eagles obviously have a really good run game, but they also have a great top 10 pass game. And I think trusting Siri and Shane Steichen, right? That's the offensive coordinator,
Mm-hmm.
to come up with a game plan. I surprisingly, or I guess I kind of have faith in that, knowing that they have Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Dallas Goddard, you know, throw Quez Watkins and Zach Pascal in there and everything. I think they're okay on the offensive side of the ball. But the defense, you know, they do allow, Philly is about middle of the pack, allowing 120 yards per game on the ground. San Francisco loves to run the ball. Any concern there about your defense, how your defense is going to hold up against a creative, tricky, I guess, San Francisco offense?
I'm not as worried about like the run game as I am more like the passes in the middle of the field. Like you put in Deebo Samuel there and you put George Kittle there, and we run a lot of zone, so that middle of the field is going to be like wide open like a lot of times, and those two guys just live there. That's the thing I'm mostly worried about. I'm not really as scared of the run game. I think like the stats for like running game, like our run defense was kind of inflated before we got like Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh. That's where we kind of started solidifying that like run defense a little bit more. But I'm more scared of like George Kittle and Deebo Samuel because right now we don't really have like our starting nickel corner and Maddox, and then our linebackers aren't like the greatest in coverage; they're more like a tackler. So
Yeah,
that's
a
what
good
I'm worried
point.
about.
That's a good point. But if you can rattle Brock Purdy, maybe those
That's the
passes
goal.
aren't the same. And I believe the Eagles set a franchise record, if not an NFL record, for most sacks in a season, right? 70 plus sacks this season.
Yeah, I'm like 4 with 10 plus.
Yeah, 4 guys with 10 plus is insane. I think that's pretty scary there. It's going to be a fun one to watch. I think these teams are pretty similar. They have good, efficient, creative offenses, and both have a very stout defense. Eagles are best against the pass. San Francisco is one of the top 2 against the run. I think it's just going to match up nicely. Both teams are top 3 in takeaway differential. You know, Eagles are +8. San Francisco leads the league at +13. Like, these teams match up in my mind, or to me, very closely, and I think it's just going to be a good matchup to see.
Hopefully.
And maybe San Francisco
we destroy
tuckered
them.
themselves out against Dallas, and like you said, maybe you destroy them.
Yeah, hopefully like this Brock Purdy is this is like his week. He's gonna look like a rookie, and then we can just
Well,
pick him out.
that's the question, right? So he's played at all these places. He's played all these. Oh, he played against Tom
This is gonna
Brady.
be a tough one,
He
man.
played-
This is gonna be a tough
played against,
one.
yeah, but you're going into Philly, NFC Championship game. What are vibes going to be like in Philly?
Oh, they're just gonna. I think they're gonna like the fans are just gonna try to just rattle the shit out of him. They're just gonna like.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, he just.
I don't know
that's
how
what I'm
many
hoping for.
Niners fans are getting in that building either. As a guy who's been looking at ticket prices for games and then comparing to make myself feel better, it ain't cheap to get in the link this weekend. So
No,
man,
Pretty
I
bad.
think they're not letting Niners fans in, and good on them for that if that's what they're doing. You know, trying to price them out and keeping that going. I think you're right. I think this will be the hardest environment that he's ever played in, and that's saying something, man, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the link. He's played in Lincoln, Nebraska against
not the
Nebraska. Okay, it's not the same.
Same thing.
Not the same. Okay. Eric, give me a little rundown. How does this game go? How do you feel it's going to go? Tell me, what the Eagles are going to do. You said they might destroy them. I could fully buy that. How does the game go? And then give us a final score.
I think like this is gonna be like just like last week because we had like a really good rushing game. I think this is gonna be like a really big passing game for us. So I just think it's gonna be. I almost like can see like Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown both going for 100 yards each. And in terms of like the score, I'm always just gonna like say it's gonna be the Niners over the Eagles.
Oh,
Like
sure.
that's just how I got to do that. 'Cause I have to have doubts and then be pleasantly surprised. But I think it is going to be close. I think it's probably going to be more around like 21-17 or 2017, like Niners. I'm gonna say just because.
Yep, that's how it goes. These quarterbacks have faced each other before. Jalen Hurts, when he was at Oklahoma, played Brock Purdy. Jalen Hurts won. It was 42-41.
Look at that. I'm surprised I haven't heard that yet.
And
Brock Purdy had made way better stats.
yeah,
The Cowboys
7
meltdown
touchdowns
is
or something
for
like that.
real because I haven't heard that at all. You
Yeah.
just assume that'd be one of the first things. These guys have already played each other. It's fine.
Iowa State, it's Big 12 country. So, and then the last question here before we let you go. So, if your Eagles do win, do you do one stake now, or do you hold it and do a big stake after the Super Bowl if you win?
No, you have to do it. You have to do steak. If I
You
don't do
have to keep
steak
Stick
this
with
week,
tradition.
then it's gonna mess up the Super Bowl if we end up going.
Stick with tradition. I'm with
What do you do the off week, the bye week between?
you. treat it like a fucking
You
bye
don't
week.
eat.
You put your feet up. You rest. You get healthy.
You're gonna need to get healthy.
There's colds going around. Kyle, keep
Eat a
yourself
bunch of
healthy,
salads,
man.
expand the stomach. Yeah, just get ready for the week.
Gotta stay healthy.
I
man.
mean, hey,
that's what you gotta do.
You know, I'm not a superstition guy.
Ryan doesn't know much about staying healthy right now.
I feel like I've been sick this entire year.
All right, Eric, we appreciate you popping on with us, dude. And if your Eagles pull it off, I don't want anything to do with picking this game. But if they do, we'll be bugging you to hop on with us before the Super Bowl and talk about that one.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right, thank you so much. Go Bengals.
Have a good one. Son of a bitch.
You did it last week too, I think, right?
He did.
Oh man.
What a dick.
Yeah, well.
That does it. That's it. Right? I was trying to remember. We already talked
Yep.
to Ray. So
We got
we're
Ray, we got
set.
Eric.
We're rolling out.
Both fun. Both picked the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
He's always been that
Hey,
way.
I mean, I don't want to spoil Friday, but I already picked the Bengals Niners Super Bowl, so I picked it in Wild Card Weekend. Can I go away from that? Find out on Friday. Download the podcast.
That's a tease.
We'll see, but this is gonna be a good one,
this
man.
is,
I'm looking forward to this one. We'll discuss it on the podcast. I don't want to get into it now. Try and keep the video short, but make sure you guys are downloading the podcast because there will be thoughts going on and maybe a little breakdown on how we feel like each team can win this game if they're going to, because I do feel like either team can win this game. I really do. You could tell me that either team won this game and how it happened, and I wouldn't be super surprised, unlike maybe a couple of games this weekend, the previous weekend. So
I mean, there's a few things, right? Like if
Jalen
Greedy
Hurts
came
had
in the
just
game
fucking
and Greedy
hurt.
ran for a touchdown, that'd be a surprise. We
Oh
wouldn't see
man,
that
that'd be
coming.
amazing.
There's no rule against it.
Love to see it. That's at the Airbud rule.
It's the Airbud rule.
I think you have to be on the 53-man roster, so I don't know that it is.
They
If
elevate.
put him
Maybe
on
they
the
elevate
roster,
him. Is he currently on the practice squad?
Shit
Squad
gets
or
crazy. Maybe they put him there. It's early in the week, man. We're recording this early, so. Make sure you guys are downloading the podcast. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, sharing, all of the things on the social medias. We very much appreciate it. Check out those best bets. Me and Ryan hitting a couple over the last couple weeks, having some fun, trying to make some money in the playoffs. So check that stuff out. That's on Instagram and TikTok. Facebook, I'm trying to get them shared over to the Facebook group too. So it's all there. Make sure you guys are checking that out. And until the next video, because this one will, in fact, go up before the preview of the Chiefs-Bengals. I'm trying to do the games in order. Make sure you're checking that one out. Should be up within a few hours of this one if you're catching it on a late Friday or early Saturday. That one's up. If you're catching it right as it comes out, give it a couple hours. It'll show up. I try to space them out. I don't want to
deluge.
overwhelm everybody with putting out both videos at the same time. So appreciate both Ray and Eric for hanging out with us. And until the next one, this has been Just Another Football Show.
Bye.
Act one, scene one. Oh.